Hi Jeremy, this is going to be some feedback on your technology manuscript that you prepared for class. Just some suggested revisions and ideas. First of all, I want to say you have a really good start to your paper. I think you've done an excellent job of looking both for other resources that you've hyperlinked in, also developing a really descriptive and interesting piece that folks are gonna want to talk about. I think what you've done here is you've got an excellent introduction. I wouldn't really find much to change here. As you move into your actual discussion of the ways in which iTunes U is being used by different folks, so for example, you direct your readers to Alan Acosta's blog spot from 2008, where he talks about the development and its use at Stanford. Beyond sort of telling us that it gives us the tools that we need and that this is one person's explanation, you might pull out one or two key points from the blog spot that you want to highlight. So what are some really important points that Acosta makes in that file that would want us to go review that blog spot and take the time to actually visit that site, other than just to find out more information about what particularly they're talking about. The other thing missing is you don't have a link anywhere to actual iTunes U, which I think is something you could do. And I actually think you could also link to perhaps some videos on YouTube or some other resources where we talk about iTunes U, or examples of how iTunes U is being used. I think you've done, again, a good job of getting into the literature related and supporting what it is you're talking about throughout your publication. But, I'd really like you to come up with maybe two or three specific ways that iTunes U could be utilized in practice. So I think you've got some really good sort of vague statements, where you sort of are talking about, should examine their own offices and what structures are in place and then how they change that services. But I'd really like to hear, a couple of really specific examples. You go in and you're sort of talking very, very generally, but do you have, one or two examples that you could utilize, or that you could include from here? You can borrow from your technology action plans, you can borrow from what's already being done somewhere, but I'd give us one or two examples of ways that iTunes U could be used to enhance student affairs work on a college campus. I think you have all of the background here that you need. You sort of talk about the benefits of it, but I'd really go into some specific examples on how we could use iTunes U as student affairs or higher education professionals. Along with that, reorganize the paper just a little bit, and I guess it's not really sort of reorganizing, but add some more headings and subheadings to the piece so that we know where you sort of give us the introduction in terms of what we're talking about, where you start moving into specifically student affairs and how it's being utilized, and then you'll have maybe a section or two on suggested applications for student affairs, suggested ways that iTunes U can be utilized in student affairs, and then give us a real sort of implications and a benefits challenges sort of section as your conclusion, which is essentially the flow that you've taken and given us throughout the paper. I'm just asking you to formalize that with headings and subheadings that take your reader through the entire piece and sort of organize it both for you and for your audience. But really good start here. I think with just some additional examples, and I'd hyperlink some more resources and possibly demos into your piece if you can, to strengthen it overall. But really nice job.